Holosky podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Steven.
And Kyle.
And it's Monday, Holo Cult. You know what that means? We're here, and you've chosen us to hang out with you through this wonderful, excellent work week. And for that, we appreciate you. Thank you for making us part of your everyday existence. We appreciate you. Today we are gonna do, I guess this show's kind of a little bit. If you're new here, hold that thought. If you're new here, you're gonna want to fast forward. If you don't like listening to us talk, fast forward to about 4.5, 5 minutes, because that's when we get into the show. Because we do some intros, because that's what we got to do. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you.
It's the process.
Yeah, it's just a thing. So today, me and Kyle, we're gonna go into something's going on the East Coast and a lot of other coasts, actually. We're going to talk about the drones, the UAPs, the UFOs. We're going to get into that. And with that comes us basically just spitballing it off the top of our heads as opposed to having an actual script that we normally do. So just bear with us. Just deal with it. It's a hot topic. And we know that you're just dying to hear our opinion on it. Right?
That's fair.
Right.
That's fair.
Anyway, before we get into the drones, we got to get through the business. So check us out at all our social medias: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Discord, Reddit. Search up the Holosky podcast and you'll find us there. Come be part of the community, be part of the cult. It's a good time. It's a cool cult, not a lame one where they make you drink weird punch and take all your clothes off and shit. It's just a cool one. If you've got a paranormal experience you'd like for us to feature on a future listener experience show, Kyle has the details you're going to want.
I do. It's simple. Always in the show notes. You can also write your story out, shoot it over to the email, which is going to be holoskypodcast@gmail.com. If you don't want to just do that, you can also just email us and say, hey, I'd like to have a cool interview with you guys, because we're going to start doing interviews on our record Saturdays for the show. So you can do that too. And I cannot stress this enough. Don't rely on the socials. Email us the information. The email is tried and true. We don't lose it in the email. We lose it in the socials. It happens fast. So just go to the email.
Yes. Email. If you'd like to support the show, plenty of ways you can do it. You can hop over to Patreon, and for a mere $7 a month, you get all kinds of goodies, extra shows, early access to our regular shows, ad-free shows, casket breath songs, coupons to the merch store. Speaking of merch store, you're like, oh, you guys got a merch store? Yeah, we do actually. holoskypodcast.com. Go over there. There's shirts. There's hats. New hats have been ordered. We got snapbacks.
Yep.
Trucker hats. They're being made right now. So get excited. Start off 2025 with some killer swag. Hollow swag. Rep the cult. What else is over there? Stickers. All kinds of stuff. We're also kind of flirting with an idea. We got some backstock of some Patreon merch that we did not get through by the time we eliminated that $10 tier. So I think we're going to go through and kind of flirt with the idea of doing a fire sale. Probably offer it up to Patreon members first. Anything that don't sell will probably pop on the store. And those are exclusive Patreon shirts that will never, ever be made again.
Yep. One and done, baby.
One and done. Also, share the show word of mouth. Best thing you can do. Throw it out to anybody that listens to weird shows. Actually, I was also going to do a little call to arms here. If you have other paranormal podcasts that you like to listen to, that you would like to link up with us, throw our names out to them. Just keep shooting it out there. Like, we just went with Greg in the higher side chats. That was awesome. We'd like to kind of start expanding a little more in the paranormal realm. So shoot us out there to all your other favorite shows. Say, hey, you need to go talk to these two idiots. They're cool. They're personable.
They're dumb, but they're cool.
They're dumb. We are the coolest losers in the paranormal realm. Bastard sons of the paranormal. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Anyway, I'm over 5 minutes. So if you're new and you skipped to 5 minutes, don't believe anything I say. Because it's whatever. You can also leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. If I find it, I'll shout you out. This week's 5-star rating and review comes to us from our friend Stock Stonewall. Stock says, The Wayne's World of the Paranormal. 5 stars. These guys are great. Their podcast is like public access channels of the 80s and 90s. Rock on. Thanks, Sock.
Love it.
We appreciate you and your kind words. And if I've got to be compared to another show with 2 hosts that are also dope, I mean, Wayne's World's the one I'd want to be.
I'm with you, dude.
Me too.
That's a solid compliment.
Yeah. Almost, yeah.
Fun fact, I was Garth for Halloween one year.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
It was a good time.
Maybe we'll have to do that for a Halloween show.
That'd be good.
Sick.
I'm with that. That actually is a good idea.
Yeah. But thanks, Sock.
We're overdue.
Ugh, dog hair in my mouth.
Gross.
Yuck. But yeah, we're over time. Anyway, appreciate you. Shout us out. Keep them 5 stars coming. We're over 1K.
Yay.
1K rating and reviews. Some of them are not that great.
That's okay.
But that's fine. That's fine. It's drone time. I mean, Apache helicopter time. Psych, drone time. So, the drones. Big hot button topic right now.
It is.
I guess most, but not all, of the activity that's been going on the last, how long? Probably 2 weeks, maybe? Probably a little bit longer than that, but I think it's really ramped up 2 weeks, is in New Jersey. So it's not exclusive to New Jersey. I've seen other sightings off the coast of California, over Texas, military bases in the UK, military bases in Iran. There's something going on.
Well, I mean, realistically, technically, if you reel back time, you could go back to it really started to pop off technically around the squid UFO sightings of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That was kind of an unofficial kickoff, if you ask me.
Yeah. 100%. And it's pretty much everywhere. If you follow our socials, me and Kyle have been posting them up on TikTok and Instagram, and they have been just running wild. And
toxicity.
Yeah. That's good though. You guys, you nerds keep arguing in the comments, and you'll just keep pushing our videos through the algorithm. That's how it works. Keep doing it. But these drones, it seems like at this point, every single night, there are more and more and more videos and evidence of these things, specifically in New Jersey. We'll probably focus around that a little bit more because that's kind of the hot button topic right now. And people are getting hundreds of sightings of these things coming in dozens, like out off the ocean from New Jersey. And it's hard to really hypothesize what exactly is going on, because if you're kind of in the paranormal realm and you dig through the socials and stuff, there's so many different theories and avenues this can go, right? Personally, I think we're dealing with a bunch of different phenomena kind of converging over one another, right?
You might have to elaborate slightly for that.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you pointed out the squid drones, right? They're not, I'm not even going to call those drones. The squid UFOs is what I'm going to call them. Because I feel like that, like you said, that was the very tip of the iceberg there.
for the most part, and then we started having the hearings take place,
Yep.
right? And then it seemed like after this last hearing that we just had, it just kicked the door wide open, and now it's rampant for whatever reason.
So this is my own theory. I don't have anything to back this up with. This is just my brain running. I think whatever these, okay, so you started out with the squid UFOs, right?
Mm-hmm.
These things are making their appearances. They're showing up over military bases. They're people are filming them. They're showing up over nuclear sites. And I don't think that the world governments know what they are. I think those are 100% 10 toes down, something that we have no idea what they are.
Very well could be the case. And it could be the case for all of it, because everybody has to remember that despite the amount of shit that you want to talk on people's opinions on these drones or UFOs, whatever you want to call them, the governments are going to tell you what they need to tell you to maintain control and civility at the end of the day.
Yep.
Right? Because they're not going to want to tell people that these are UFOs and we have no idea where they're coming from, what they're doing, why they're here. We don't have an idea. No idea.
Yep.
And then there's the aspect of could this be a military exercise of some sorts? And I do fall into this camp. However, there's some complexities with it, right? Because you got guys like Mike Baker. He's ex-CIA, and he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast before. He's talked about how the brains, the scientists and stuff that build tech for CIA have things that are out of this world. Like, they're so crazy and so powerful, it would blow your mind. However, 90% of the time, the CIA guys don't get to use that tech for one reason and one reason alone. They don't want the possibility of this tech falling in to enemy hands.
Which makes 100% sense.
So a lot of times they lock this tech, they'll build it like, this is awesome. And then they just lock it away in a vault because they don't want the opportunity to lose it. So then you take that in comparison to with these drones. If these drones or UFOs, whatever you want to call them, are of another country's or a country's arsenal, so to speak, they're running a massive risk running them around the planet, because other governments are going, without question, if they don't have this tech, they are going to do everything in their power to take these drones down, to start reverse engineering them and to figure out what makes them tick. That's why you'll see, I know it's in the movies, but you'll see when a military helicopter comes down or an airplane, a lot of times they thermite it or they'll blow it up so no other country can get their hands on what's inside there.
Yep, 100%.
So you got to ask yourself, what are the odds that it's actually a military exercise? And if it's United States owned military doing this, or let's even expand it. Let's say that it's NATO, because it is happening like the UK and stuff like that, and I'm sure other places across the planet. Why come out and flex? And if you are flexing, you're not doing a very good job, because some of these are coming out of the sky.
Yep.
And that's irresponsible as all hell, to have these falling out of the sky over civilian populations. Yep. Whenever we know America, the UK, Europe, everywhere on the planet has mass amounts of land, nobody on it. You could fly those things all day and night, and nobody would be none the wiser. You could crash down in the woods, send out a retrieval team, you're good to go. No problems. But you're going to start pushing it over top of populations? That's where I kind of get a little wavy.
It's weird. But on that note, the reason why I want to separate the phenomenon from the squid UFOs, because post the squid UFOs was happening kind of post CV-19
Mhm.
prior to I guess not really the first big hearing, but the first big hearing of the last 2 years, right? They started showing up. Military videos started coming out of with them. Uh, Public videos started coming out. People started seeing these things that they can't explain from plane windows, from CCTV footage. Like these things were starting to make themselves clear.
It kind of did. It kind of did ramp up after that first hearing. You forget too. You know, it does feel like, and I know that it is a report in recent times, but doesn't it kind of feel like the brain has an overall fog nowadays?
Oh yeah,
Like
time.
sometimes it's hard to to jog back and remember things that were taking place. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah,
it's really
bro.
strange.
I think it's I don't okay, I don't know how, but I think it's by design. Like time
I
is
agree.
soup. You try to remember shit and it doesn't even make sense in the like chronological order of things of the last 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Everything is just choppy and like fog is a perfect word for it.
Well, I say that because I just heard that the other day that is a massive report in today's society across the world is how everybody has this like brain fog about them now.
It's weird.
Ever since the C19 shit, because I remember you remember when I was having all my problems, I was going to the doctor and that's exactly how I described it. I have this brain fog that I can't shake. I don't know what it is. And it scared me because I that's not a good thing to have fog of the brain like that. But it was just weird. I heard that that is a massive report in today's society
Yeah. And I feel like it's by design that's what they want that's what they want to have happen.
because it is. It's hard to recall things even in the past 4 years. And like it's even weirder how in today's world your brain fully pushes it out until like you just brought up something and it's like, oh yeah,
Yep.
huh, I forgot all about that.
Yep. And I feel like this is all um, kind of symptoms of something way bigger at play here. Like like they are like this is catastrophic disclosure, right? And I know that's a hot button word right now, but there's no other word to describe it. I feel like whatever these entities behind this are, like we talked about, gave a very specific finite date as to when this was going to hit the fan.
Actually, hold that thought for a quick second. I just remembered something. It's funny the way you're wording it and like the direction that we're going because I wrote an upcoming episode that will be coming out in the next couple weeks, and it's on a specific military group, and they were involved in some really crazy shit in regards to UFOs. And one of the members of the team, this was documented in 2013. One of the guys was like, he was like, I do believe in the near future massive disclosure is going to happen because the problem is getting out of control. He specifically worded it, the problem is getting larger and more out of control.
Yep.
And when I heard that, I was like, how ironic. I mean, near future I would definitely consider within the 15-year mark, because it was 2013, here we are in 2024, virtually 10 years later.
Yep.
And it technically it started, probably arguably 4 years ago, like you were just bringing up with the hearings and whatnot. And I found that very interesting how you have a guy who's part of a unit. You guys are going to be it's going to be a really dark and crazy episode in regards to the information that I was able to find.
Don't
But
trust them. Don't trust them.
well, that's his take on it.
That's where I'm
He
at.
is 100%. It is weird. It is so weird to me, and I know we're kind of getting off topic already, but it is so weird to me how you and me at least to my knowledge, are one of the few that have doubled down on this idea of most of them are probably up to no good.
I'm in the camp where all of them are up to no good.
And then once we kind of decided on that narrative, it has blossomed out so much where you hear more and more people are like, no,
Yep.
this is not good. This is not okay.
Sucks.
Because this guy was talking about possibly maybe 3 different races, and he's like, none of them are good. None of them are here for good reasons. It's all bad.
Yep.
It is all 100% bad.
Yep.
And I'm excited to do my episode with Steve because of how absolutely fucked up it is.
I'm glad I
It's
get to be a part of that.
Nuts.
Yeah. I think, okay. Finite time for disclosure. I feel like the world governments have a time period from whatever these things are. They're like, hey, we're showing up 2025. You got so many years before we make ourselves known to the world public, right? And I feel like up to the last couple years, they've kind of squandered that. They haven't really done anything, haven't really talked about it up until these hearings. Like I've said on the night shift and I said on other interviews, up until these last few hearings, aliens didn't exist. UFOs weren't real. Now all of a sudden, they did a complete 180.
Yeah.
They are real. The things you're seeing are real. The things you're seeing are coming from the ocean. These are non-human entities, intelligences. These are non-terrestrial crafts.
And
which is crazy.
And it is. And to be 100% fair and stick to the nature of who we are and what all of this means, that's what they're telling us. They're telling us that it's coming from the ocean.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, that could be far more acceptable by people than from a different dimension.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, you're also right. You know what?
You know what I mean?
I'm not trusting what they say either.
You can't. You absolutely can't. And I was thinking about that too whenever, I had credible people come out and to talk about specific videos of, there was a military guy was like, no, that was me and an Apache at a firing range. Okay. Like, show me.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I want to believe you. And I believe that you believe that.
Prove it.
But if there's one thing the military has been pretty consistent with in regards to UFOs, is lying.
Yeah, you're right about that.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I feel like you have to take that shit with a grain of salt as well. And of course, don't get me wrong. Those videos could be Apache's firing. It absolutely could be. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't record the fucking video. So don't get mad at me about it.
We're just here to share the information.
Yeah. Yeah. And, there's things about situations that me and Steve we're not in the military. We don't live on a base.
Sorry.
Talk shit somewhere else. Get a life. Get a hobby.
The bottom line is, like, we're specifically talking. I know we're all over the place here, but there was a video that came out what looked to be these drones live firing as they're flying through the sky, and that caused a whole bunch of controversy on our socials, and people are like, no, that's a live fire military training. But bitch, I don't care. What I see in the video are the same looking drones that everybody's been posting, UFOs, UAPs, firing shit.
That's what's crazy is that the light, like, you can argue helicopter versus the quote unquote drone, but they do have the same light patterns.
Yeah.
Clear as day.
I'm going to get to that. Back to catastrophic disclosure. So we got a specific point. World governments aren't doing anything. Whatever these entities are, start flexing a little bit, right? You have whatever the weird Chinese space balloons that were shot down that necessarily aren't Chinese space balloons because they couldn't recover it, but they secretly recovered it, but they don't know, and they didn't release any information out.
Yeah.
Then you have the Peruvian face peelers
Yeah, I
The
always
back,
forget about that too.
the backpack riding, jetpack flying, Ric Flair
Yeah.
face peelers.
Yep.
That's another thing that just got swept under the rug.
Yeah.
Like it,
And that's what we are talking about, the brain fog shit. Like
yeah,
that was a massive story. It was crazy. And this is the second time where I've completely brain farted on the face peelers, man.
yeah. If it is a human, if they said it was minors, if there are serial killing backpacking minors in Peru, I almost feel like that's a bigger issue than them being
Yeah.
aliens.
Absolutely.
But that got swept under the rug. Nobody cared about it after the people stopped caring about it. Like people had videos of these things in the canopies of trees, like watching people.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah. Then
It's whatever.
you get the Las Vegas UFO crash where police have there's body cam footage of whatever this thing is hurtling through the sky. And then you get people that are like, hey, something came out of this and it's in my backyard. I know people are going to be like, they came out and they said that was fake, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a fuck.
I saw videos where they said there's clearly something there in the video.
Yeah. Yeah. There was forensic digital analysis of the video of them in the backyard, and there is some other being in the yard with them.
And didn't they say specifically that it had like some type of
Cloaking
cloaking device? Yeah.
Wrap your brain around that. And if that wasn't enough, like we talked about before, then you have the Miami Mall incident, which I've stated before, had a bigger first responder response than anything I have seen since probably 9/11.
And bro, you're never gonna convince me that it was just over teenagers fighting.
That's what that's where I'm at.
Ever.
You have hundreds of people in that mall, and I guarantee you, every single one of them have a cell phone.
Yeah.
Every one of them. Everybody that works there, everybody that's shopping there, everybody has a cell phone, right? You have CCTV footage all around the mall, all through the mall. You're telling me that you can't produce one iota of footage from inside that mall showing the fight? I seen videos of teenagers running around outside of a mall that was supposedly the same one, but you don't have anything else than that? That's a little sus to me.
Oh yeah.
I feel like all of these are just little poking points where they're like, it's coming. It's coming. You guys better get your shit together. It's coming.
Well, also there was the recent talk / footage of supposedly UFO crashing over by Washington and stuff, right around North Carolina, Washington, whatever it was, where they get the people recorded like a giant smoke trail in the sky, and there was a bunch of chatter real quick, but it disappeared because no videos came out at all, and people had the same argument. There's Ring door cameras everywhere, people with cell phones everywhere. How did all of a sudden it just get blacked out?
Yep.
And didn't happen. It's like it didn't take place.
Radio chatter of dispatchers thinking that it was an airplane going down.
Yeah.
Like that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's not a joke either. You know, that's something for everybody to be frantic about and get on their toes and go.
Yep. But what I'm getting at is that after these things kind of happen, then they start ramping up the disclosure, the congressional hearings, getting people in here to talk about it. And I think that was to try to appease whatever is coming. Because after the little squid UFOs, we started to see a lot more and more of the orbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
The orbs started showing up everywhere. Orbs everywhere. Orbs landing at the goddamn airport in Manchester, UK. Like the orbs are there. Then out of nowhere, we start getting the drones over New Jersey, which, as the public, we immediately begin to think that these are not of this world, which I feel like some of them are not. Some of them are directly related to whatever the phenomena is. But these other ones, a lot of these that people are getting videos of, like they have, if you watch them, they have all the flashing lights, like FAA regulated lights, which if you were like, If you're a giant alien squid, you don't need FAA regulated lights. You don't give a shit.
No.
You're not trying to fly around, right? So this leads me down two different paths. One, I feel like these are definitely the ones. Okay, let's say the ones with the FAA flashing lights and shit. These are definitely of this planet, right? Probably some sort of military-esque scenario released at a very strategic time to kind of keep people up in ends, maybe for a distraction tactic. I don't know what they're trying to distract from, because this is crazy, unless it's trying to take all of our attention away from whatever these squid UFOs are, whatever the orb UFO are, or orb UFOs are. And because now everybody's attention is on the drones,
That's true.
drones coming out of the water, which, if we're going down this governmental path, you're starting to hear different kind of sects of the paranormal world talking that these are some sort of government maneuvers, right? I heard one guy was talking about, he's ex-military. He said that these are what they call red operations. And it is some sort of clandestine alphabet agency running maneuvers so under wraps that they would rather have it be like a public stir, like that they're UFOs, than to come out with what's actually going on. Right? He kept using the term red operations. So that kind of led me down this rabbit hole, that whatever these people are saying, that whatever these drones are they kept calling them sniffer drones, right? Where they're up taking air samples. They said they're checking for biological weapons. So the next big baddie to drop on the United States, or they're checking for possible nuclear fallout particles.
Well, and respectfully so, you need to run down that avenue as well, because there's a lot of conflict on the world stage right now.
Yep.
So you can't rule that out as a possibility that he's right, that this is some type of cover up mission where, instead of, because you got to imagine the fallout from acknowledging the public that there is a nuclear device somewhere on the eastern seaboard that people plan on setting off, or a hardcore biological weapon, which to boot, great segue. I did read the other day, and I need to verify, but I did read that a extremely potential virus has just gone missing from an Australian lab.
Oops.
Ironically enough. So in conjunction with what Steve's just saying, and maybe there's a little bit of meat there. I don't know. And I think that it's important to always keep that in mind, that this could be something like what Steve said with the red operation. Absolutely could be something. Not to mention, I am going to go ahead and say that I know for a fact some of them drones that are on video are 100% of this planet, because Steve and I live out in the middle of BFE. We got a lot of crop fields around here. There are drones that they use around here on them fields that literally require like a solid four-wheeler trailer to haul them around. They're big drones. They look like they could pick me up and fly me around. They're huge.
Yep.
So those drones exist. They are real.
And
the other thing, real quick, what is something else that we have seen massively in the past several years? We have seen the exposure of, which I would say, ironically enough, the exposure to what would you call them, like drone shows. That's become a massive thing now all of a sudden.
Yep. They did it for for the Olympics and like Pokemon Festival, all kind. Like that shit's wild.
And rightfully so. Like, it is a new technology. Of course, they're going to utilize it and market it and so on and so forth. Rightfully so. I'm not saying that it's necessarily connected with any type of conspiratorial means, but that is something to also consider.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of new things going on right now.
Yeah. And that just shows the technology is easily there. And probably, and that's just for commercial technology.
Yeah.
Right. So the technology beyond that is probably hands and foot past what we're seeing. And they also, talking about this kind of red operation, people are like, well, why New Jersey? Why New Jersey? Nobody's going to release a dirty bomb in New Jersey. And they're like, you're correct. They said, but New Jersey is has the closest port cities to New York, which would be on the main first hit map of anybody that's going to set this shit off. But they said they can operate these drones in this operation around smaller towns in New Jersey along the coast and shit without having so much of a public backlash if they were to do it in New York City or Manhattan or Long Island, because there's so much more of a population there, which also made sense. On the flip side of that, I also heard George Knapp talking about these drones, and he made a point that's kind of, it's valid. It's weird, but he said, look at it from this point of view. Now, not all the drones are going to be extraterrestrial, but he said, we're constantly trying to reverse engineer their technology. That it's not that far out of the realm of possibility for them to do the exact same thing to us. And he said, what better way to hide than to manufacture drones that look like our drones and put them in the air with our drones? Which, when you think about that sucks.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. The other thing that kind of scared me, and I don't know, obviously you can't validate every single one of these claims, but when you were talking about how there were FBI people looking into the drones and then they would appear over their houses.
Yep. I saw
that's terrifying.
A bunch of reports of that. They got, so this leads us to another avenue here. If these are government-esque drones, nobody's on the same page, because congressional leaders and stuff from New Jersey have come out demanding information on these things. It's becoming a public issue because people are getting scared. People are going to start trying to take these things down. People are going to start acting irrationally, which may be what they want. Maybe they want to see how the public's going to react whenever this comes down the pipe. But at the hearings were just a big nothing sandwich. Like, we don't know. We don't know what it is. But it got to the point to where the head of New Jersey politics got the FBI involved. There was a task force put together. And when they started to investigate these sightings, the members of the FBI started reporting these drones showing up over their homes, which is crazy. That's to the point to where whatever these things are, either, because it's the FBI, like that's under wrap shit, where either these things are so ingrained in the different facets of the government that right off the rip they knew who was going to look into them, and they were going to start. I don't even know. It's an intimidation tactic, is what it is. So somebody in the circles found the information. Boom, drones over their house. Or if these drones are not human, they have some sort of telepathic capability to where they figured out that these were going to be the people looking into them.
I looked at it. I made a comment on Instagram about it. I looked at it for it reminded me of some type of dystopian future Minority Report where imagine these drones are linked to some type of facial recognition,
That would suck.
facial recognition system where it's, it registers to the face of the FBI person, which instantly connected to the database. Then the drone was like, all right, watch this. I'm fly right over your house. Now I'm gonna start intimidating you. Like, it does make you fearful of that type of environment.
Yep. That sucks. I
Like
have
that's a whole new word to policing.
yeah, that's I just I think it's a bunch of different phenomena kind of overlapping on one another, and then this it almost feels like this is a last grab attempt for the government to be kind of on top of what's going on. Because think about it, if these are all governmental drones, everybody's hyper focused on them. So that leaves the power in the government's hand. Like, as long as people are looking at our shit, they're not going to be looking at what else is going on.
Well, that's what I was gonna say too. Like, there's so much working against the paranormal's view on these quote unquote drones that it's unreal because you have so many factors at play right now. You've got the world conflict, which is just astronomical right now. There are so many countries on the verge of just going toe to toe with each other. Then you have um, all the Diddy chatter here and there. We are at the end of an election cycle where we're getting ready to swap presidents. There's so many things that are in the fire you don't know, and like Steve said, this is slowly beginning to consume attention now because I have heard reports, which I don't really watch mainstream news anymore, but I've heard that it's starting to make its rounds on the news.
Yep.
The news is starting to cover all this stuff.
Yep.
So it's beginning to actually tee itself off. And I don't think that this is the end of it. I don't think that it's just going to disappear on us
No.
because it's not just New Jersey. It's all over the world. So we almost have to semi step back and take ourselves out of our United States view and look at a world stage view because it is happening in the UK. I just saw videos of them outrunning F-15s or whatever they have over there.
Which is crazy.
There's reports coming from all over the world of people seeing these things.
Which makes me think that New Jersey is just a smokescreen.
It could be our smokescreen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
I feel like
I feel like every country is kind. I mean, you rightfully so. You're rooted in your area.
Yeah.
It's what you know. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And we don't have many like world stage news platforms.
No. And especially here, the whole paranormal world, we're just as guilty. We have been consumed with these drones the last.
Oh yeah.
These UFOs, these UAPs, whatever it is going on in New Jersey has been the talking point of New Jersey. When there have been similar sightings on the West Coast, California, Oregon, down in the ports in Texas, huge swarms of these things. And where else? Like you said, UK, Iran, all over the place. And I feel like it's two converging, similar, but way different phenomena, because you have New Jersey lawmakers going on public television, on live TV, saying that they thought this was all BS until he was out on the beach with his family and he watched 20 to 50 of these things come up out of the ocean. I'm pretty sure that that's probably, if that's US government tech, that's pretty advanced, because being able to go from the ocean to the air is probably a lot harder than we think it is.
I'm sure.
Because if it isn't, we'd be doing it already.
Yeah, I'm sure. And that's also what else is crazy is that there's still a huge pocket of the population that does think this is bullshit. You can tell by the freaking comments all over my Instagram video that people are like, this is nothing. Nobody's talking about this except for schizos and so on and so forth. It is not a reality for a lot of people.
Oh, that's why that right there is why the disclosure is going to be catastrophic, because people
Denial.
refuse to even acknowledge that this could be a possible scenario. So when they start showing up, these people are going to be like, this can't be real. This can't be real. This can't be real, until it is real.
Yeah.
Until they're there on your front porch.
Yeah. Knocking at
Until
your
they're
door.
landing in your backyard. Until your kids are running home screaming because the squid UFOs have followed them home from school or some shit. Like, you're going to have to expand your perspectives a little bit here.
Yeah.
I also saw some videos where these things are crashing, and one had a massive response. There were multiple response vehicles, and it looked like everyone, I assume they were firefighters if they were not government officials, were in hazmat suits going to whatever these things are, which reminds me, I'm going to read, we're kind of pushing time here, but I'm going to read some of the articles that I picked up about these. So this is from the New Jersey Division of Fire and Safety and Intelligence Bulletin they released. Recommendations for encountering downed UAVs, issued December 2024. The overview: the New Jersey Division of Fire Safety has developed several guidelines when encountering downed unmanned aerial systems, UASs, in collaboration with the New Jersey State Police and the FBI Newark office. Safety recommendations: 1. Downed or landed drones should not be approached. 2. Utilize Emergency Response Guidebook, Guide 111, to establish isolation and evacuation distances, 330 feet in all directions initially. 3. Fire service members should utilize full PPE and SCBA when establishing isolation and evacuation distances and not re-enter the zones once established. 4. Notify local law enforcement and the FBI. 5. Request New Jersey State Police Hazardous Material Response Unit and local hazmat teams. 6. Hazardous materials response teams should approach the incident as an unknown and follow established environmental monitoring procedures as such, to include radiation monitoring. 7. Request the nearest bomb squad. 8. Be aware that electronic devices and two-way radio systems may malfunction in the immediate area. This is a law enforcement incident, extinguishing any fire and secure the perimeter. Suspicious activity with possible nexus to terrorism, targeting violence, and other related activities should be reported immediately per existing protocols. Activity can be reported 24/7 to the New Jersey NJOHSP CT Watch or CT Watch at njohsp.gov. Please feel free to contact your regional fire coordinator with any additional questions or concerns.
Yeah, because all that doesn't match descriptions of UFOs.
If it's, I mean,
Your radio malfunctioning.
yeah, what is the other context of that? If it's not something that we don't know.
Because that's where my brain was going. Was it so either because if you war game it out, if the government is privy to it, and it is like let's in a far out example. Let's say Elon Musk made all these fantastic drones. This is their debut. They're going to start testing them out. Horrible testing place for them, obviously. Could be way more ideal, but let's just run with it. They could be saying, hey, the power source on these things is toxic if it breaks open, right? Because it has a new power source. Maybe it is nuclear, maybe it's whatever. Who knows? Whatever it is. Could be toxic. We need to clean it up immediately. I don't think that's a logical scenario because I don't think they'd allow those to fly over top of populated areas, so on and so forth. But we
sure as hell wouldn't think they'd allow them to crash.
Exactly. The other possibility, okay, maybe the reports are true. Maybe it is a foreign militaries. Maybe the same scenario applies. The power source could be toxic if cracked open. Maybe this is maybe this is how they're going to implement the nuclear device or biological device. Maybe that's what they're afraid of. Maybe the government doesn't know what,
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
what that is or who it's coming from, and they're just going to treat it like this. I don't know, but we do know from being in the woo world that UFOs have all those symptoms: the radiation, the knocking out electronics. That fits.
And there were plenty of reports and videos coming from last night of New Jersey radio stations that had either been hacked or were somehow tapped into, and bro, the noises they were making was
It's
something out
straight
of
up.
like War of the
I
Worlds.
was just gonna say War of the Worlds.
If that's true, which I saw multiple different videos of people on the same station, if that's legit, that is the craziest shit I've ever seen.
And it could be another public stunt. Somebody taking advantage of a situation.
I saw people on X changing the pitch frequencies, and it almost sounded like whatever was behind those clicks and those noises, it almost sounded like certain parts kept saying humans help us. Humans help us.
That's fucked up.
Which what almost leads more toward it being not real and
Yeah.
someone fucking around. But I don't know, just the context of that thought just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah. That's the thing, is that there's so much in the air. And I think the thing that I hate the most is that when things are like this, people are so decisive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no room for talking and education. It's just point fingers, talk shit.
And you've always got some dumbass nerd out there trying to kind of stay ahead of what's going on and trying to kind of like make their 15 minutes of fame, where like it wouldn't be that far fetched for someone, if they had the capabilities, to like hijack the radio station and
Yeah.
put this weird shit in there. But I feel like hijacking a radio station now is probably, you probably got to be pretty good at.
Well, to be fair, way back in the day, a radio station did it themselves.
Yeah, to myself.
They pretend that aliens invaded.
Oh yeah,
over there, and people lost their minds over it. So on and so forth.
1936.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, people were. I was gonna say dumber then, but it's not any different than it is right now.
No.
I got a couple more articles I'm gonna read. I have the FBI response, and I've got the Department of Defense response. I've also got a Reddit article, a Reddit post that I feel might also kind of have some stuff here. So this was posted in the r/conspiracy 2 days ago. He said, radar guy here. I know who's operating the drones. 25-year radar operator for a major agency here. Just thought I'd let you all know what has been going on these past few weeks. The drones are part of a military, quote unquote, drill being conducted by the Space Force. Everything is on a quote unquote need to know basis, which is why there's so much confusion. What gets me concerned, and why I had to make this post, is that something big is about to go down. I happen to know that there are additional, quote, full lockout drills that are scheduled to take place between now and Christmas Eve. These operations involve full turnover of all radio and radar and aircraft communications to the military for several hours at a time. In conjunction with that, there are also scheduled satellite launches that are, quote, off the books, which have been occurring since October. They are setting up some kind of big, quote, show for the public very soon. CNN was even at our facility shooting pre-roll footage for a future story. I don't know exactly what's going on, but all I know is this: get ready. Peace and safety to all of you and your families, which is another big sort of push people are making with all this, is that this is kind of a precursor to Bluebeam. That this is all going to come out and come down as one big conglomeration of some sort of show that's going to be put on by the world government, which is kind of the response to everybody anytime some of this shit happens. Hey, everybody goes, hey, it's Project Bluebeam. Hey, it's Project Bluebeam. But I thought I'd share that.
The verbiage big show could be a lot of things.
I hope it's actually Paul White, the big show.
It probably is.
Who shows up on the lawn of the White House, choke slams an alien, walks off. World is saved.
I could see it.
World is saved. Oh, where are we at? Almost an hour. Okay. I'm going to read the FBI response and the Department of Defense response. We'll probably wrap it up there. The FBI response. Joint DHS FBI statement on reports of drones in New Jersey. Today, the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security jointly issued a statement on reported drone sightings in New Jersey. Quote, we have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or public safety threat or have a foreign nexus. The FBI, DHS, and our federal partners, in close coordination with the New Jersey State Police, continue to deploy personnel and technology to investigate this situation and confirm whether the reported drone flights are actually drones or are instead manned aircraft or otherwise inaccurate sightings. Historically, we have experienced cases of mistaken identity, where reported drones are, in fact, manned aircraft or facilities. We are supporting local law enforcement in New Jersey with numerous detection methods, but have not corroborated any of the reported visual sightings with electronic detection. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft operating lawfully. There are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. We take seriously the threat that can be posed by unmanned aerial systems, UASs, which is why law enforcement and other agencies continue to support New Jersey and investigate the reports. To be clear, they have uncovered no such malicious activity or intent at this stage. While there is no malicious activity occurring in New Jersey, the reported sightings there do, however, highlight the insufficiency of current authorities. So basically, the FBI said, this is mass hysteria. Everything you are seeing are manned aircraft, which that excludes drones. You are seeing manned aircraft.
Which, I mean, if they're the size of SUVs, could be. Definitely large enough for a person to fit in.
If I were a dude on a military base in New Jersey who saw the drones, saw the UFOs over military bases in New Jersey, and the FBI came out and said, that's unsubstantiated, that's not real, I would be livid.
Yeah.
I would be so angry that they're trying to gaslight me into thinking I didn't see this when I saw it. The verbiage of that was so just deflecting. Like,
well, that's all they do anymore.
You guys ain't seeing nothing. Well,
the mass hysteria section is asinine.
It's crazy to me.
That's asinine because I understand mass hysteria to a degree, but there's video. So unless you're telling me that our mass hysteria / consciousness can manipulate raw video, like essentially raw reality, and manifest our collective thoughts onto a film, that seems very complex. I'm not saying not real, but it's very complex.
This feels like then the Department of Defense releases this. Today's the 14th. Yeah. They released this today, which almost completely counteracts what the FBI says, which, like we talked about before, they almost it's almost like some weird infighting going on. Like,
yeah.
And they do it to keep the water so muddy.
Yeah. I was going to say that creates more division and confusion.
Yeah. So the FBI just said there are no substantiated confirmed drone sightings over protected airspaces, which I'm assuming are military installations, right?
Yeah, you'd think so.
Okay. This was released today. U.S. Department of Defense Joint Staff addresses drones over New Jersey military installations.
Whoopsies.
Weird.
It is actually funny, real quick. It almost seems like, now that I kind of look back, it seems like they just threw a shot over the bow, because it was like you were saying before, the FBI comes in and goes, you didn't see nothing. And then the next day the military's like, oh, we didn't, huh?
Yep.
Watch this.
Yep. That's what I was thinking too, because the FBI released that on the 12th. The Department of Defense released this on the 14th.
Yeah, watch this.
They're like, don't even, which shows like the inconsistency, which again could be on purpose, but if it's not, it just leads credence to the fact that they have no idea how to put the lid back on this can of worms. So, Joint Staff addresses drones over New Jersey military installations. In recent weeks, a number of drones have been sighted over New Jersey, prompting concern and thousands of telephone calls to report them. Which is weird, FBI. If these are just planes, you'd think people in New Jersey would know what a plane looks like.
Yeah.
Because if you're telling me it's manned aerial aircraft, I'm calling that bitch a plane.
Same with helicopters.
Yeah, you're right. Some of those drones have even been sighted over the Picatinny Arsenal and Naval Weapons Station in Earl, both in New Jersey. Oh, so over airspace they're not supposed to be. Also weird, FBI. Good job. During an on-background telephone call today, officials from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, now we're getting heated up, Department of Homeland Security, and the Federal Aviation Administration and the Joint Staff provided comment and answered questions from reporters about the drone activity. A spokesperson from the Joint Staff acknowledged that there had been sightings of drones over 2 military installations in New Jersey, but said that these sightings are typical, which is completely the opposite of what they said in the last one. Quote, "We have had confirmed sightings at the Picatinny Arsenal and the Naval Weapons Station in Earl. This is not a new issue for us. We've had to deal with drone incursions over our bases for quite a time now. It's something that we routinely respond to in each and every case when reporting is cited." That's the opposite of what you just told us 2 days ago.
Also, I could be wrong, but I do recall listening to a Tim Pool episode not long ago, and he was talking about flying his drone. And in a lot of cases with these new drones that you buy, you can't even fly them in restricted airspace.
No, I think
at all.
If you're going to use them to film, I think you have to have a license.
Really?
Yeah, like a FAA license.
Because the way Tim Pool explained it is they have shit built into them that they won't be able to cross over into restricted airspace and stuff like that. Like it'll just stop.
Yeah, which is another thing I forgot to mention since we're just spitballing it here. There's videos of people trying to fly their own drones in New Jersey, and their drones they refuse to lift off.
Yeah.
Which if that technology is built in, you would think if that technology is built in, they probably have the technology to be able to put that down.
From what Tim said, he actually helped lawmakers work on all of that stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because I don't know, there's a big long story behind it, but he helped work on all of it. And because at first I was like listening to the article and I'm like, it wouldn't surprise me that once in a while some dipshit grabs his drone, like, I'm gonna fly over this military base and see what I can see.
Yeah.
I mean, I could easily see that happening in the military swatting them. But, hey, quit! You're not supposed to be doing this. You do it again, you're gonna get in trouble. So on and so forth. But then I remember what Tim was saying, how a lot of these drones they can't fly in restricted airspace. They just won't let you do it.
And these, I feel like these are pretty big. Like that's the naval arsenal.
Yeah,
which I feel like has a lot of implications and context behind.
I'm sure
that. But yeah, on with the article, the spokesperson said military installations have means to detect and respond to such drones, and that security personnel are trained to identify, categorize, and employ those tools to keep drones from flying unauthorized over U.S. military bases. Right now, the FBI, the DHS, the FAA, and the DoD have been unable to determine who is responsible for flying the drones. These are the drones that the FBI said didn't exist 2 days before. There's no indication that there are any adversary nations involved, which is also weird.
It's weird
verbiage. Quote, "To date, we have no intelligence or observations that would indicate that they were aligned with a foreign actor or that they had malicious intent," the spokesperson said, "but we do not know. We have not been able to locate or identify the operators of any of these drones at this point of origin." The spokesperson said that the military has, quote, "limited authorities when it comes to conducting investigations off of military installations in the United States. It's also prohibited from conducting intelligence, surveillance, or reconnaissance operations in the United States, which might be used to determine the origins of who might be flying the drones," which is weird. But the spokesperson also said these military installations have good relations with local law enforcement who can conduct investigations off the installation. We have to coordinate with law enforcement to try to do that, which we are doing, the spokesperson said. And we do that on a routine basis at nearly all of our locations. We have a good relationship with them and excellent coordination. We respond quickly to try to identify them. The spokesperson said that the department is frustrated with the appearance of all these drones. The main point is to deter the activity using some of our electronic means that can respond to most of these small commercial systems and deny them access to the airspace over our bases. We don't know what the activity is. We just don't know if it's criminal. But I will tell you that it's irresponsible. Here on the military side, we are just as frustrated with the irresponsibility nature of this activity. So that just goes to show you that not only are they not on the same page, but the FBI did a complete flip-flop 180.
Surprise, surprise.
Saying, well, we did tell you that there weren't any drones over restricted airspace, but now we're definitely telling you that there are drones over restricted airspace, and we don't have any idea who's even operating them.
Another thing, real quick, before we call her, I did forget about this, and it's a good point. It's a good idea. Our friend Troy from Into the Abyss podcast messaged me about him, and he made a good point. What if it's a plausible, possible false flag operation? Because he's like, what if they're using these drones to create some type of environment, therefore allowing them to go to war, attack somebody else?
Yeah,
blame it on another country.
I even saw, to kind of piggyback off of that, I even kind of saw people hinting at this trying to spark up a kind of a J6 scenario where the public starts attacking these drones. If they're government issued, government owned, this could set off some sort of conflict with the public and the government.
I don't know.
Which sucks.
It does suck.
It's manipulative.
Because it won't be long
ridiculous.
if it already hasn't that people take pot shots at it. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Especially when you can't even really blame the law enforcement at this point, because I feel like they're trying their best and they don't know any more than anybody else. When you got
two heads of the snake there,
just biting each other.
It's
what
crazy. Are you supposed to do?
It's crazy. I don't know. I mean, at this point, all we can do is sit and wait.
They give us the information and then we fight about it like dummies instead of talking about it and figuring it out.
Yeah. At this point, all we can do is wait, because it's not slowing down. It's not stopping. People are starting to see them on their Ring doorbells. It's just keeps piling up.
One thing's for sure, it's a wild time to be alive.
It is.
Kind of low-key exciting.
8-year-old Steve is so stoked.
Yeah.
That aliens are real, UFOs are real. They're taking over the East Coast, and like me and 8-year-old Steve are here for it.
Yep.
That being said, thanks for hanging out with us. I know it was kind of all over the place, but we feel like we needed to get on here and talk about it. We'll probably actually release that this week.
Yeah.
Because it's hitting hot.
Monday.
And any of our listeners over on the East Coast, New Jersey side, if you guys are seeing this stuff, you're taking videos, pop them over to us. Send them over, because we have to make sure that they're not helicopters. Anyway, again, thanks for hanging out with us this week. We appreciate you choosing us. Like I said before, if you got any other shows you want us to hook up with, shoot our names to them. Say, hey, you need to go talk to Steve and Kyle, because they don't know what they're talking about. Hope everybody has a good, safe week. Until we meet again, stay safe. Stay weird. And if the Department of Defense doesn't trust the FBI, you shouldn't either.